Leadership guru Brian Clemmer says that in life there are two types of people: those who are nice, good-hearted, and compassionate, but can't really make anything happen, and those that are the movers and the shakers, but they're often self-centered, greedy, and unethical. How can we as followers of Christ kind of live in the best of both worlds? In The Compassionate Samurai, Brian shares the secrets of making things happen without compromising our convictions or losing our character. And Brian, so good to have you with us here today.
Thank
you
very
chuckled
much
at the word guru there, leadership guru.
Yeah, I don't look at myself as a guru, but...
Well, your book is #1 on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list right now, The Compassionate Samurai.
We've been blessed.
Yeah, so I think guru fits.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about the title first off. Why samurai?
Samurai were very famous warriors 1,000 years ago, and I'm taking from the mythical samurai, not so much the violent aspect of them, but they were very ethical. If they gave their word, they would die rather than break the promise. And today, ethics, character is not talked about, it's not taught, it's not dealt with. And so the samurai is the result-producing ethical side, and then compassion is the contribution side. And to me, Jesus was the ultimate compassionate samurai. He was a result producer to the max. Tree doesn't produce, he curses it. Non-producer in Story of Talents, he calls him wicked. But he wasn't about accumulation, acquisition, consumption. Most of the world today, you talk to kids, that's their definition. They've been brainwashed into success is accumulation or consumption, acquisition, that kind of thing.
When we look at being extraordinary in an ordinary world, the cliche is nice guys finish last. How can people who maybe are leaning up heavy on the compassionate side kind of take up that warrior mentality and become results-oriented people? Can people change?
They absolutely can change. No question about it. In fact, I was listening to your previous interview with Chris, and he mentioned about loving everybody unconditionally and sometimes holding the standard up so high that we get judgmental of people. And one of the traits I have, 10 traits in the Compassionate Samurai book, is abundance. And the opposite of abundance is what I call either or, it's scarcity. And I think sometimes we get into this mode where we're judgmental and accountable, or we're non-judgmental and then non-accountable. So really the goal is to be an incredibly accountable result producer, but at the same time very accepting. And the way for a person to change is to change the heart. Proverbs 23:7, it says, as a man or woman thinketh in their heart, so are they. It doesn't matter what we put in our conscious mind or our head. And so at Clemmer & Associates, we disciple people, really. We get paid by companies to change the bottom line, or by individuals to improve a marriage or lose weight. It's all about results, but it's done with interactive exercises that change the heart. We were doing one just last week. Fascinating. It was a Christian lady, actually. We were on stage and we were doing a thing about how to solve problems when you have no idea what to do, a faith message. And she got stuck, as people do in life. And I said, I pulled a $100 bill out of my pocket. And I said, if you come up with a mechanism for doing X, Y, Z in the next 30 seconds, I give you this $100. She instantly, before I get done talking, she comes up with this idea.
Where'd that come from?
So I give her the $100. Now here's the amazing part. As she's walking off stage, she gives me the $100 back. And I said, what are you doing? And she said, well, I didn't really earn this. And so I shoved it back at her, and I said, we need to talk. And because she had a belief system in her heart. In page 153 of The Compassionate Samurai, I talk about the hidden obstacle to abundance is not being able to receive.
Right.
And so she had troubles receiving. So but it's got to be experiential. She got it then.
Yeah. What are some of the 10 essentials, or the 10 codes of the samurai warrior?
Yeah,
the compassionate samurai warrior.
Abundance, personal responsibility, focus, boldness, honesty, trust. Knowledge, but not from knowledge like in the head. It's more like having an openness to learning and a constant seeking to learn. So there's a lot there.
What do you see some of the people out there that you connect with? What are the big mistakes that they make? Is there like one that keeps just jumping out at you?
Gosh, personal responsibility is a huge one, but I'd rather pick on me in page 101, there's a chapter on honor is one of the 10 traits. You don't hear much about honor. And to me, there's a big difference between knowing kingdom principles and knowing the king. You can know the king, be saved for eternity, not know kingdom principles, and so you can't produce. So we're trying to take our company to a $100 million a year company. We're double digit right now. And so I hired an outside consultant. I bring him in to shadow me around and tell me what I'm doing. It's okay for now, but it's not okay at $100 million a year. And he shadows me around. At the end of the day, he says, I want you to think of all your conversations with people in the office. I go, okay. And he says, well, as you think of them, you really didn't have conversations. You had monologues. You didn't listen to people. You didn't ask them questions. And boy, it hurt. He told me I was very condescending, was the words he used. And
you actually paid him to do that.
I paid him to do that. And I'm very grateful. Because I was blind to it. And so now I'm working on a practice of asking employees, starting every conversation with a question, because that honors them. And I think many times, you were asking about mistakes, when we start producing pride and arrogance, thinking that we know what's best. We forget to check in with God. So I think that's a common one for producers.
And what a powerful one to honor there's a scripture that talks about not to build your wealth on the backs of cheap labor. But you honoring, taking enough time to just really connect with your people who are helping build your vision, build your dream, to honor them.
One of the other traits is honesty, which is close to transparency, authenticity, not quite the same. And so I actually told all the employees that we have what I was working on, and gave them permission to call me on it when I'm not starting conversations with them off with a question. And so, and I was amazed at the power that had with them. The calls I got the next day, and they love it. They call me. They call me on it. I want to give you a samurai sword, if I may.
Wow!
It's a replica. We give it away in our Clemmer & Associates seminars. One of the advanced. Yes, I'd keep it away from children, but the sword is not about violence. It's about separating truth from illusion. And I think that you all, with your show, do exactly that. You assist people in having revelations that support them in having a greater walk with Christ. And so I just wanted to...
Any significance here on the...
People ask me that, and I don't know. I don't know.
You're going to find out, though.
Something. It should be Scripture is what it should be. That would be great.
Well, thank you. Domo arigato.
Oh, wow.
So how do you incorporate the Word of God? Because your book, I mean, it's going way out into the secular arena. How is that going over? You're taking your teaching out there, but how are you incorporating the Word?
In the business world, we don't get paid unless we make change happen. Like we did a Christie Medical Clinic over in Illinois, saved them $500,000 in 2 months and $1 million in 6. And it's all Christian principles. The fellow that led me to Christ was a business person. He told me I had to read a business book. I said, okay. And he said, you promise you'd do a book report? I said, yeah. And he said, well, go get a red letter King James version of the Bible. And and he basically taught me kingdom principles before I had a personal relationship with Christ. I tithed for 2 years before I became a Christian because he was teaching me a kingdom principle about money.
The kingdom principles.
There are a lot of non-Christians that know kingdom principles better than Christians, unfortunately.
Wow. For people watching right now, and you talk about focus as well, the importance of focus. Someone who's kind of wandering, and maybe they've been in the same job for a number of years, but there's nothing clicking, or maybe they're in their marriage, it's just there's a wandering going on. What is the power that focus brings to an individual, to a life, to a marriage, to a company, and where does that focus come from?
Focus obviously comes from God, the Creator. You can't make up a purpose. You can be useful. A lot of people have a useful, practical life, but they don't know their purpose, so they're unfulfilled. So what purpose does, it's like a lever, and it gives us huge leverage, whether it's a corporation, a person. And so there's some very experiential work we do at Clemmer & Associates where people confront their death in their life so that they discover their purpose. Because I think there's a lot of Christians that are saved for eternity, but they don't know their purpose.
Taking up time,
and they're just living life, and they're waiting on God, a passive position, going, well, when God tells me what to do, then I'll go do it. And I think by then, most of life's gone. And I think our job is to bring God's kingdom to this earth, not wait for us to go to heaven.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, Brian. It's been awesome having you here with us, and look forward to the next time you're around this area.
Thank you very much.
More of this. The Compassionate Samurai, Being Extraordinary in an Ordinary World. You can pick it up on our website, harvest-tv.com. You go to the show information, you click on the book cover, it'll take you to a link. You can purchase it. It'll be sent right to your door, or you can go to your nearest bookstore and get a copy there as well. And if you'd like to connect with Brian Clemmer and Clemmer & Associates, there's an easy link at harvest-tv.com as well.